boink.
Action.
All right, action.
We're rolling.
2D.
Hey!
Ooga, looga,
Hey.
You're not the host.
Welcome
I am
to
now.
my
This is a
podcast,
takeover.
everyone.
This is a takeover.
Welcome. This is a
Episode
hostile
1.
takeover.
Raid.
Hey guys, welcome to Spiel Meal. Look at what we have here. We have 6 brand new, exciting stories to share. With me, I have 2 co-hosts to the Spiel with the Meal. We have our resident expert computer scientist, Mr. Tyler J. If you want to say hello.
Hey.
I can see you smiling on Discord.
Are you making this up as you go along?
Of course, yeah. What do you mean?
I love it. I love it. It's great.
Oh my lord.
Okay.
And next, we have our resident bird expert, possibly biologist, and self-proclaimed big man, Josh D.
How's it going, everyone? It is totally tubular-tastic to be here. Happy to be here on the Schmiggly Wiggly podcast. I am an official biologist, I'll have you know, certified by the government of your mama.
Canada. He's certified in Canada.
We actually will be talking about Canada soon.
Perfect.
All right, but we have 6.
The frozen continent.
Oh lord.
The motherland.
All right, we have 6 pretty wacky stories I definitely want to cover. We're probably split into 6 different parts, but if you're listening to the full podcast, welcome. We're going to cover A Hoe Is Never Cold research, crypto hamster's death, human steaks for you, 15-year-old archaeologist, Xenobot takeovers, and NASA's Operation IceBridge.
Yo.
So
I just want to let the audience know that neither me or the amazing Tyler were aware of these titles.
I mean, I was informed of the titles. You are in the dark.
I was in the dark as the biologist, as the big man.
We need your candid professional approval. I only have
I'm
anything
like Batman. I thrive in the dark.
My field only tangentially related to Xenobots, and I know nothing of it. So
hey, don't worry. I only gave him crumbs. Like I only told him the titles, but I did not go into detail, which we'll be doing now.
I mean, I searched up the Xenobots, but I didn't search up the pictures for what I assume is NASA's, what do you say, IceBridge?
Operation IceBridge.
IceBridge. Okay. I'm guessing based on the word ice, which of the things you mentioned before it is, but yeah. I
just don't look up anything right now
to be in there, but yeah.
NASA's just making a bridge to Jotunheim. That's NASA's project.
Yes, but I neglected.
They want to go to the land of ice giants.
Our first topic is A Hoe Is Never Cold study, and this is the actual research paper done on it.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm ready.
All right.
Oh gosh.
So there's a quote by CardiB. A hoe never gets cold. Theory proven by new study. According to the New York Post, a study was published in the British Journal of Social Psychology confirmed that scantily clad women are less likely to be cold. And it's an entire, just look at the article. I linked it on Discord.
That's amazing.
They measured, they asked many 40-ish-year-old women to stand outside bars. They recorded their temperatures, and they recorded how much they had to drink that night. And they put all this info together, and they confirmed women with less clothing are actually warmer than women with more clothing.
Okay, so what we've learned is that while you are still vulnerable to arrows, at least temperature is not an argument against chainmail bikinis anymore. We can have fantasy barbarians, and they'll be completely fine in the frozen tundra.
Temperature.
If you look in the abstract, the way it says it, women more highly focused on their appearance did not feel colder when wearing less clothing. These findings offer support for the relationship between self-objectification and awareness of bodily sensations in the context of a naturalistic setting. What I take from that is that women who are focused on their appearance are more focused on their appearance, and their brain is more focused on their appearance than the outside surroundings. So in essence, they're able to reduce the effect of the cold because they're allowing their brain to distract itself on their appearance instead.
They're not focused on being cold. It's almost like that. You ever hear about those people who like meditate in when frigid cold temperatures?
Oh yeah, those people that can like swim naked in the Antarctica.
Yeah. Or they meditate just in their underwear and it's freezing cold and they're like regulating their own body heat or something like that.
There's that crazy Swedish guy. He was on a Goop with
I think it was a Swedish guy.
Yeah, and he just like went swimming in the Arctic because it was like mind over matter, and it turns out that I guess
these women are monks
can do the same.
Yeah, I mean that's why it was published in the Journal of Social Psychology. They actually, a lot of the study actually covers the psychological bits. They actually got data down for what the woman thought, just as Josh mentioned from the abstract.
Yeah,
this is very interesting.
Yeah, it's actually super cool. It was funny. It was inspired by CardiB. She just said that somewhere, and then lo and behold, a study was made by 6 people.
Scientific studies.
Yeah. It was just saying this study was by the University of Florida. 6 graduate students got together and made this.
And they published in a British journal. Congratulations.
Yeah, they published it too. It was pretty crazy.
Amazing.
Do you think one of them used this as like their thesis to get like a PhD or something?
Yo, I hope so. I really hope so. Hang on, I'm gonna click on one of the names. Miss Feelig has 4 publications. This article is at the top of the list.
Do you want to read out all their names? Do you want to read out the 6 names?
Yeah, there's Roxanne Feelig, Jessica Jordan, Samantha L. Shepard, who's the only person not credited as being they're just not on ResearchGate, so they're probably also from the same university. Emily P. Courtney, Jamie L. Goldenberg, and Tommy Ann Roberts, who is from Colorado College, not University of South Florida. Very interesting.
Oh, it was a multi-university effort.
all women. Nice to see. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so any final thoughts about this topic?
I mean, they mentioned it as well in the discussion. One of the big issues that I find with this paper is that it was a pretty small sample size. If they only
what
took
was the sample size? What did you say?
98.
98. Okay,
people.
yeah.
I guess when it comes to
especially
when it comes to professional research, I guess that would be a small sample size. But yeah, keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially for social psychology. It would have been great to see over 200, but what I think is really interesting is they explain that there is some implications for gender inequality and women's lived experiences, given that oppression historically involves socialized self-silencing. So this is a kind of, from what I understand, a reverse of that by being proud of their bodies, being proud of their appearance, is what it's looking like saying.
So I got a quick question for you. Are you happy with your body? Just the silence.
That's a very strange question.
Is that your answer? Is that your answer?
I feel content with my
Get
body.
it now? If they feel hot, they feel hot. It took me a while.
I've been exercising and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with where I'm at right now. How about you guys?
I mean, I've been doing sit-ups, but I haven't seen any change so far. So I feel like
I mean, if you guys, you guys already know, but I'm wearing a vest to hide my body. So.
I mean, that's what clothes do. What do you?
Oh God, really? Oh yeah, so that was the CardiB's Never Gets Cold study. All right, you guys ready for the next topic?
Did they cite CardiB as an inspiration for this?
Well, according to the article, they did, but at least it was an inspiration. I don't know if they cited it in the actual paper.
Paper? Oh, okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I didn't fully read it. It was, it was a research paper. But yeah. So next thing, you guys ready for this? Hamster who got richer than Warren Buffett in crypto trading dies. So that maybe doesn't sound as exciting, but wait until you hear this. According to Mr.Goxx's owners, which is the hamster's name on Twitter and News 18, Mr.Goxx, a crypto trading hamster, once beat indexes and funds like S&P 500 and Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. has passed away.
Oh, man.
So I didn't know what those are. I'm not really into trading, so I looked into it, and apparently S&P stands for the Standard & Poor's 500, or simply the S&P 500. It's a stock market index tracking the performance of 500 large companies listed on stock exchanges in the United States. And for the other one, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. Apparently this man, Warren Edward Buffett, is an American business magnate, investor, and philanthropist. He's currently the chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. And this hamster beat all of them, at least last September.
I mean, the fact that it beat anything with Warren Buffett in its name is
Yeah, go
pretty
hamster.
impressive. Yeah. So, like, how exactly again did he beat him? Like, what was you said the hamster was a cryptocurrency trader or something?
Yeah, so this hamster powered a machine that was auto trading. And
Okay.
apparently last September, his cryptocurrency profile rose 24% in one day, which beat the records of the two aforementioned mentioned groups.
Wow.
And that's when he got
24.
popular.
And so the hamster, they're literally just a hamster running on a wheel.
Yup, and they live streamed it too.
Beat out that's amazing.
Well, wait a second. So does that mean that they beat out the hamster, beat out the trading amount or the profit amount for that day against Warren Buffett and the S&P 500? Or did the hamster beat the profit of Warren Buffett's total worth? Or did the hamster beat the total worth or the S&P numbers for more than a day? What is the clarification there?
Oh, so I don't claim to be an expert, so forgive me if I get this wrong. But as far as I understand, each of these groups and areas, they had their own profiles. They had their own they essentially had their own profiles where they'd keep track of current investment income per crypto trades, and they would post their investments and how much they would actually raise or fall. And I guess in this quarter, for profiles at least, this hamster made more profit, at least profile-wise, which I'm not an expert. I don't entirely understand what that means, but out of what I understand, he made more of a profit in September than the other groups, at least using their profile.
What they expected their own groups to make, he beat their expectations for their own things.
Out of what I understand,
What they
yes.
were pulling in for income.
But I find this stuff kind of
Wow.
confusing. So,
I mean, I
It
know
was
but
for
like,
the entire month of December or
September. Yeah, apparently that hamster's profile growth just was better than theirs for that month.
amazing.
And
So-
I don't know if it stayed that high or if it made more progress since. But that was the peak of Mr. Goxx's popularity, and that's how people found out about him.
Was Mr.Goxx? He was the did he have any like input to the actual cryptocurrency trade, or was he just like was it just the power source for the computer?
Honestly, out of what I know, he was just the power source, but feel free.
Like if they gave him like buttons
To look into that?
where you can train like a parrot to push buttons for food. Like what if he just was pushing random buttons and he happened to get like he was clicking random things?
Yeah. Or
Honestly,
That'd be
the
amazing.
random the speed that he went on the wheel was like certain trades or something.
That actually is a really good question. Like, both articles I read did not mention that at all. All they mentioned was this hamster beat those boys. But, like, honestly, I think out of what it sounds like, he was just a power source.
No, like he
But-
was a sufficient power, because when you think of cryptocurrency, I mean, I don't imagine he was powering a machine that was mining it. He was just powering a machine that was betting on it, right?
He was powering a machine that was trading. So I guess
Yeah,
technically
trading.
betting. It depends how you view that.
Essentially, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Yeah, you're betting on, Well, I don't know how cryptocurrency trading
Or investing. Yeah.
works. If it's like investing in stocks, but yeah, basically,
So
yeah.
you actually bring up a
'Cause
good point.
If he was powering a machine that was mining it, you would need you would need more than one hamster.
Yeah, so that's why you bring up a good point. Because one of my theories is that he has Mr. Goxx has two anonymous German owners, which allegedly are wife and husband. And my theory, at least my first theory, is that these two alleged individuals who own Mr. Goxx used him I'm guessing that one or both are stock or crypto trade experts. They managed to raise their own profiles by 24%, use the hamster to gain attention, so that way the stocks that the hamster, or I guess the cryptocurrencies that they were trading into, that the hamster, quote unquote hamster is trading into, will gain more popularity and in turn gain more value. And so I think this was actually a public stunt that the two anonymous German owners did to actually get more money out of this. And they were doing all the trades. Right. The hamster had no input at all, but they want you to think the hamster had input.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's theory one.
When a company has a mascot.
I mean, personally, I kind of want to believe. I want to believe that Mr. What was his name?
Goxx. Mr. Goxx.
Mr. Goxx. I kept thinking Mr. Cox. I'm like,
Mr. Goxx.
I mean, that is a name.
I mean, yeah, like, it just sounds funny.
COX, spelled with an X. What was that guy? There's a guy in like I think it was a Republican governor or some congressman. I think.
I have no idea.
They wanted him to change his name. Some guy wanted. I think it was in Ohio when one constituent wanted him to change his name because his last name was Cox, and it was like he thought it was obscene. Anyway, that's the other thing. But yeah,
Spencer Cox, governor of Utah.
Utah, one of those 4-letter states, yeah. But yeah, back to Mr. Goxx, the real hero of the story. I mean, yeah, I kind of want to believe, but also, how did he come to pass?
Oh wait, we'll get into that. But I just want to quickly mention the name change thing reminded me. Did you guys hear of the Domino's Noid story, where a guy's I think his last name was Noid, and then Domino's made a character called the Noid that was super annoying, and people actually annoyed the guy because his last name or first name was Noid. It was one of the two. And then he actually it's kind of gruesome. He shot up a Domino's.
Oh my god!
Oh god! I thought you were gonna say like he sued them or something.
No, the only relation is that it was for a name change, and he couldn't get his name changed, and people made fun of him, and he finally cracked. But yeah, good stuff. So like, Josh, what was your opinion? Do you think it was going back to Mr. Goxx? Do you think these shadow people in Germany are just using Mr. Goxx to leverage their own benefits?
Honestly, yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say, that's like what companies do with mascots. Company doesn't need to have mascot or invest so much money into it, but Geico is the gecko. I mean, Aflac is the goose or whatever. I think it's a good strategy.
That
now people are going to say, haha, that's the funny hamster stuff. I'll invest in that. And that'll raise the German couple's money too.
Yeah.
Or it's like Liberty Mutual with that bird and that really annoying fucking guy who's always
the Limu Emu.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it's called?
I don't even know what thing the bird is. I just
remember
that. I just know the guy because those fucking commercials are everywhere, and he's like, "Gotta only pay for what you need." And I'm like,
the bird is an emu.
That's the most interesting thing about it is that you've told me that the bird is an emu.
Yeah.
That is the only amount of joy I've gotten out of insurance commercials.
Oh, and Josh posted a pic in Discord.
That is a piercing gaze.
Oh, so
they are extremely dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, so like going back to Mr. Goxx though, Tyler, I know you just asked earlier, how did he pass away? Well, it's kind of a mystery. So this will also go into my second theory as well. But Mr. Goxx apparently has had kidney issues in the past. He got professional mite treatment, which apparently damaged his kidney when he was younger. And the shadow owners believe that may have had to do with his sudden death. Because according to the shadow owners on Twitter, which they made a Twitter for Mr. Goxx, I don't think they're on Twitter. They still remain anonymous. It was he was perfectly healthy before he just passed away randomly. So
and then
it might have been a professional mite treatment, but what?
And then their stock plummeted.
Yeah, so this goes into my second theory. Actually, it's like two theories in one. But my second theory is that this cryptocurrency, this crypto trading hamster was losing interest. Like people kind of just like, they thought it was cool at first and people stopped caring. So then the hamster allegedly dies to reinvest interest into the whole story and into their stock. So it goes back into my first theory that they're benefiting off this hamster.
Interesting theory.
I don't know
yes.
about that second part.
I mean,
I
interesting
think the
still.
first part is definitely plausible, but I mean, this is this couple's hamster. They would have to be
Yeah.
very vain and very greedy to kill off a hamster
But-
just because they wanted a little bit more stock recognition.
But they're slimy
crypto
business
recognition.
people. They remain anonymous for a reason.
Well, they're meant because they
Well, a
don't
lot
wanna,
of
you know,
people
be in the
remain
public
anonymous for a
eye.
lot of different reasons.
Yeah,
I
like they
mean-
don't want to be. They gave their hamsters 15 minutes of fame, and then I guess they had that too, and now they just want
And
to
it
be
wasn't enough.
continuing to live their lives.
And it wasn't enough, so they had to bring
Yeah,
it
but
back
if-
in the loop.
But if they wanted more attention, they probably would have come out and given their names or put their names to something. Because remember, if they get the name investment by killing off the hamster, then sure, yeah. But it's not like an artist who dies and suddenly the work becomes a lot more famous. I feel like that's just gonna extend. That's like a renewing it basically for another 5 minutes of fame, and then that's just gone.
I mean, fair
So-
point, but that's
I mean,
still
it would have been
I
a
feel like-
smarter
I feel like
strategy
they'd know.
to keep the hamster alive if
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
tried killed it.
no. But that's
Because like,
that's
what
the
if they
thing.
just tried and beat? What if they beat another record? Then they could keep editing up on the on these things.
No, see,
and also here's the thing: they don't even have to kill the hamster to get that publicity anyway. If they remain so anonymous, they could have just made the announcement.
No,
You know,
see,
so-
like you guys bring up good points, but that's the thing. Maybe the hamster, or maybe the shadow owners, weren't making any profile progress. That's why they weren't benefiting from the hamster anymore. They had to use him before he died of old age. Or maybe he actually just died of old age.
He probably did just die of old age, you know,
Probably
Or
died of old age.
That goes into my
It's terrible.
actual
or sudden heart
second theory.
failure, you know.
So for my actual and final theory for this was that the S&P 500 banded together and smited this gerbil hamster. They killed him
Oh my
because
God.
they were jealous. Or
No,
it was the
that's
Buffett
definitely-
Berkshire hitmen that got together
I
and got the
think, yeah, Warren
hamster.
Buffett
They
hired
sent
a
a lightning
hitman.
strike onto the hamster.
Yeah, they hired a bunch
They
of
smote
wizards
him
and
by
smited the
power-
hamster.
They smote him with the power of capitalism, Jesus.
Or that,
Oh my
exactly. Could have been anything.
Yeah, they invoked his name.
All right, so it's either he actually died from a kidney failure from a professional mic treatment in the past, it was the S&P 500 wizards, or the Buffett Berkshire hitmen. I think it's one of those three. That got to the
R.I.P.
hamster.
Mr. Goxx. That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
rest in peace, Mr. Goxx.
Yeah, R.I.P.
But yeah, he's a cute little gray hamster. He's actually really cute. I didn't save the article for this one. I saved my notes, it's not the articles, but I'll send you guys a picture later if you want.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Is
look it up. Yeah, look it up, Mr.
Is
Goxx.
it Gox?
Oh yeah,
Mr. Goxx?
it's Mr. Goxx.
That's close to being a. Okay, I'm getting Mr. Fox instead.
I am too.
Yeah,
What?
Mr. Gox. There we go.
Yeah, I'm just getting a bunch of pictures of Mr. Mr. Fox.
Okay, then yeah, no, we'll just continue that.
Well, no, just click the click search
Oh, I found
instead
it.
for Mr.
Oh, he is
Gox.
cute.
Yeah. Oh, little guy.
Yeah, a
Thank
little
you,
guy
rest in
who was
peace,
killed
Max.
by the S&P
Oh,
wizards.
His name was Max, Mr. Max Gox. Yes.
Oh wait, his name was Mr. Max Goxx?
Well, it says thank you and rest in peace, Max, aka Mr. Gox.
Oh,
So,
I didn't know he had. I didn't know
yeah.
his name was Max. Oh, look at that, more data. What the heck?
Yeah,
The two
so,
articles
yeah,
I read
guess
didn't
his
mention
full
that.
His full name is Max Gox.
He
Cool,
does look
cool.
a little old. You could see his fur around his head in one of the pictures is lighter than the others, so it looks like he's graying a little bit.
No, which means the S&P 500 wizards recently smited him and he survived.
the S&P 500 wizards made him age so much that he had kidney failure.
Oh god.
Yes.
Oh lord. Wait, do you think since we're like speaking about this now, they're gonna get after us? Oh god, good thing I didn't give our full names.
Uh,
Uh-oh.
Oh no, we've uncovered
we're just talking lemus or emus. Please don't kill us. I mean, we're just birds. Don't worry about it.
Please don't kill us, Warren Buffett. We bow to your eternal wisdom.
Are you guys ready for the next story? We still have 4 more to cover.
Okay,
Sure.
yeah, let's get into it.
All right, next one. This one I thought was kind of creepy at first, but then kind of grew on me, but still pretty creepy. This is the
Oh, boy.
food-related one. You guys ready for this? Makers
I'm not sure
of
if I am.
makers of grow your own human steaks say meal kit is not technically cannibalism. Is it?
I
Let
think
me
I
go
need
into
an
detail.
explanation.
Yeah, let me go into detail. DIY
Clarify.
meal kits for growing steaks from human cells, specifically your human cells. It was part of a project. It got
Where did the cells
rewarded.
come from? Is it a skin graft? Is it a piece of hair? Or can I just jizz in a bowl and get steak?
It's
Oh my
all the
God.
above. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Oh God.
For it was awarded
If I'm not
Design of the
making-
Year by the London-based Design Museum, which is a group of artists that apparently make actual products like this. They call it the Ouroboros steak.
The Ouroboros steak, of
Oh,
course.
that's clever.
It was inspired by how snakes eat themselves tail first.
Yeah, that's Ouroboros. Wait, hang on.
I'm gonna send you guys the link because I got a good link and it has pictures of what they look like. I'm gonna describe it for you podcast watchers, but it looks like a cup of gelatin with really brainy, mushy looking red like stuff. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like weird,
Who the
like
fuck would eat
balls
that?
inside of like clear gelatin. It does not look like a steak at all. It's like fleshy red plump stuff in see-through gel that's apparently edible and tastes like steak.
Yo, we gotta get some of this and grow it on the podcast.
Oh,
So
no.
what do you use? Like blood? What do you use?
Can you use semen? Because if I'm not making a steak out of my own semen, then I don't want to make a steak. man.
Actually, I thought I jotted a note of that. I can't find my note.
Yeah, like where did the cells come? That's why I'm. What
Yeah,
is the
yeah, wait,
process
here.
Like
I sent you guys the link. Where is it?
I'm looking at it.
I'm looking at the link, and I just see this front page, but I don't see like any about me or how it works.
That honestly makes me a little nauseous. That's a little too grotesque.
So like,
I mean, like,
honestly,
what the fuck is going on?
yeah,
there?
honestly, they're an artist group. There's a really good chance this is fake and that it's just an exhibit to gain attention. But like, just the idea of being able to grow steaks out of your own body to eat them. Like, they claim it's not cannibalism, but I mean, it's still your cells. It's a weird gray
auto-cannibalism.
boundary, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't see anything about like where
Yeah,
do you
using
order
human
this?
cells and blood. So it looks like they use a combination of
Where do you
probably
see
like
that?
a stem cell and blood. I looked it up on another website.
Oh, okay, because all I see is stuff about the designs and the exhibitions. I don't see.
Yeah,
anything
which are
about
harvested from
steaks.
the inside of your cheek and fed serum derived from expired donated blood.
There it is. Isn't that so weird? Like, our bio
But is-
expert,
can they
what do you
it?
think?
Is it real?
Yeah, is it real? What do you think? What do you think?
It looks real. FBS, which costs around 300 to 700 per liter, is derived from the blood of. Oh, that's something else.
Okay.
That's,
So you don't have-
that's it's doing the same thing but with cows. That's what I was reading.
Oh,
Oh,
Because they could do it with cows, so I guess
so we
they
don't
just
have
did
to.
the
So
same
we don't have to
process
kill
for human
cows for
cells.
steak anymore.
So-
Yeah, they're actually working on that.
yeah. Actually, no. That was one of the
Unlimited
inspirations.
steak supply.
Well, actually, yeah, let
Yeah.
me read this out. So the Ouroboros steak is a DIY meal kit for growing gourmet steaks from one's own cells. It comes as a starter kit of tools, ingredients, and instructions that enable users to culture their own cells into mini steaks without causing harm to animals. It was commissioned for the exhibition designs for different futures at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. The project
Okay,
is
so
the project is a critical commentary on the lab-grown meat industry and critiques the industry's claims to sustainability, which is exactly what you just found, Mr. Josh. And it was designed by Andrew Pelling, Orkin Telhan, and Grace
Okay.
Knight. I'm bad at pronouncing, so I probably got that
I
wrong.
don't think so. I don't think these folks who the Ouroboros steak actually made a stem cell sort of.
Oh my God.
thing. But
But
they just
honestly,
made a piece.
I wouldn't be surprised
to
if we're on our way
comment
there,
on it.
and this art exhibit's gonna fight that progress and stop us from eating ourselves. And what happened, Josh? You said, "Oh my God."
I don't think
'cause
so.
I
I
read
think they might be in
the-
favor of it.
The artist that
Unless
made
I'm
it
misinterpreting.
said And I quote, "We are not promoting eating ourselves as a realistic solution that will fix human protein needs. We rather ask a question: what would be the sacrifices we need to be able to make to keep consuming meat at the pace that we are in the future? Who will be able to afford animal meat and may have no other option than culturing meat from themselves?"
Interesting. Very
I
interesting.
can see them using this kind of stuff in space.
I mean, this
Honestly.
seems like a post-apocalyptic story or like a sci-fi horror film
Oh my god, wait.
where
Yeah, speaking of that, there was a really short
I mean, you're
comic.
just taking cells and then you're growing it from once the cells are separated from you, I mean, it's basically like, dead skin cells. They're just you shed them all the time. So, is there really like a moral I mean, if you really think about it that hard, I guess it can be a little bit disturbing, but
well, so they're not
I
using
think you're
dead skin cells.
I know obviously you have to start with live cells, but like once it's off of you, once you've taken the sample, it was a part of you, but it isn't really anymore, and then you're just growing the cells to make something new.
I
So
mean,
Let
like
me propose a question to you,
Adam,
Tyler,
yeah,
and
yeah,
to
go ahead.
Patrick as well. So you're saying, oh, you only need to take a little piece, then you can grow it and you're fine. Well, humans need to eat 3 meals a day. What happens after you run out of cheek
Well, yeah, if
skin,
you're
cheek cells?
well, if
You
you
know,
run out of
in a
cheek cells,
post
you've got a bigger problem on your hands. You've
well, but
already
that's
got
what
a
I'm
big
saying.
problem. Where's your cheek?
In a post-apocalypse society,
Oh
imagine that
yeah.
the rich can culture meat from whatever animal they choose to do, but the
Mm.
poor only have the option of doing it from themselves. Well, for a while they'll be okay, but what if they start running out of what's used, what's okay, what's not painful? What if they start having to use other body parts?
Ooh.
What if they start having to use a piece of their finger? And then after their finger is gone, because cells take a while to grow back, they have to use maybe a piece of their nose. What if they start having to use a piece of their eye?
Okay,
What if they
well, yeah,
start
yeah.
killing
Well,
each other
now,
to use a piece of each other's brains?
mm, okay, I see where you're getting at. Yeah. Well, if this is the only food option, the only source of protein,
just eat your
then
children.
yeah, I can see that happening. But as long as this is not the only source, then I think we're fine.
I mean,
But
it's
like,
theoretical though.
in your theoretical scenario, then yeah, if we're just unable to, if there's no sustainability and we can't have animals that we get meat from, then yeah, then you start getting into a problem. You know.
And the scary
Um,
part is, I mean, as
Okay.
our track right now, we are kind of along that path. I
we are
mean,
running
if
out of
we
meat.
aren't able to get sustainability, we can't keep up the amount of production that we have with poultry and with livestock that we do. And
Um,
so we're going to start probably seeing a gap where the rich can have livestock and can have private farms,
hmm
but the underprivileged, the underrepresented communities will not be able to have as readily available access to poultry. And let's say this product comes out and it's easy. It's only 20
Yeah,
bucks and you can produce as much meat as you can supply with your own cells.
bro, that is a little unnerving. Yeah.
Right? That's what I meant when I first saw
Yeah, no,
this.
I
That's
get
what I
what you're
was
getting at.
thinking. Like, wow, that's scary.
Actually, when you explain it, it sounds pretty cool.
Yo, that sounds
It
like a
sounds
very
very
great. That sounds like a
post-apocalyptic and like broken.
dude. That's like a great. That sounds like a great hook for a sci-fi story.
We should write a book.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, just steal
Yo,
their idea.
Spiel Meal book.
Oh Lord! It actually
Not
reminds
steal,
me
like
of
inspiration.
reminds me of a little like 5-picture comic where it was about a astronaut it was about an astronaut they sent out to explore a planet endlessly. They had microbots that what if the astronaut doesn't find anything after several days and weeks of not consuming anything, just in the suit walking, like it starts consuming himself, and the bots tear him apart and feed his own body to himself without his permission.
Wow.
And in the end,
Wait, what?
he was just a walking robot.
Oh, that's creepy.
I mean, if I find that comic again, I'll probably link it in the description. But
Yo,
I'll
dude,
send it to you guys
that
if I
sounds
find it. It was
gnarly.
it was actually pretty morbid, but because he had no choice in it. But I guess he signed up to be in that situation. Oh, whatever. So yeah, so like this definitely seems to be an art exhibit to raise awareness, I guess, to eating yourself, and by that I mean the bigger picture of animals and meat. But honestly, like that is actually kind of creepy, kind of a little disturbing. Trying to think of how you could eat yourself in different ways. At least that's how I took it. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. They won they got the design of the year by the London-based design museum for good reason. I mean, when I saw the pictures, I was a little spooked. It was pretty cool. So yeah, any final thoughts, guys?
I would like a bit of big toe in my steak, please.
I'd like a little bit of big toe in my salad, please. No, in
like a
in all
crouton?
seriousness, all jokes aside, the thing that gets me worked up, the thing that gets me unnerved by this kind of material is
Is the thought of a poor person eating you?
well, no. I start seeing the reality of how this could be the case, and I start thinking about it, and like we were talking about earlier, of well, if this does happen that way, it's kind of like the multiverse theory. If this path does happen, if all these lefts make this right, whatever that path is, this could possibly happen. And I think that's why it's so important to have communication and to try to, really stick with sustainability for all. Because otherwise, these post apocalyptic scenarios won't be so post apocalyptic anymore. They'll be the reality.
I mean, it
It'll be
sounds like
post-apocalyptic, but the apocalyptic part will be real.
I mean, it sounds like a good
Right.
solution to me. Not really that apocalyptic. You know
So
how
you'd be
many
okay
car
with just
farts? You know how many?
continually eating
I
yourself?
said car. You know how many cow farts cause the global warming?
So you'd be okay that the ultra rich have livestock and everyone else has to eat each other themselves?
I heard ultra
Honestly,
lich, and I was like, that fits.
That'd be a great story if we become like a bunch of ninjas or hitmen. We attack the ultra rich, the 1%, take their cells and eat their steaks. That'd be quite the story.
That would be pretty ironic.
No, but yeah, you have a good point though. You do have a good point. It's pretty interesting to think about.
It is. We should write a book.
Oh Lord, I'll let you write the book and I'll read it over and you'll make me co-author. How does that sound?
Easy.
I brought this to your attention, so I get credit. No, I'm kidding. But
Speaking of which, the Ouroboros, I was looking it up. It's like a symbolism. I think it originated from, it said China, and it's really interesting. It's a snake that eats its tail, and it never dies, I believe. Yeah, represents with its tail in its mouth, continually devouring itself and being reborn from itself.
Yep.
that
So
sounds
that's
pretty
really interesting
badass.
that they chose that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Pretty metal.
For this
Yeah,
project.
pretty metal. All right.
Yeah, Egypt and Greece, some say could be from China as well.
Mhm.
All right, you guys ready for the next topic?
Yeah.
All right, you ready for this? How a 15-year-old discovered an ancient city. I thought it was pretty neat. So William Gaddery, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so just William G.
Good theory.
Goodori. Oh, I don't want to make fun of it, but William G., a Canadian 15-year-old school kid, discovered a lost Mayan city by comparing star charts with satellite imagery. And at first, the first article I read mentioned that the satellite imagery was just Google Maps. I was like, oh, that's cool. But he actually got super specialized and localized radar sat 2 geoimagery from some Canadian people from a science competition that he got from a science competition that he entered. And it's pretty sick. Like he named the city the Mouth of Fire, the 4th biggest Mayan city, at least biggest Mayan ruins ever found. It was it was pretty funny. It was inspired. His research was inspired by the 2012 Mayan calendar world-ending apocalypse talk that happened that year. Yeah, he discovered it. By comparing star charts with satellite imagery. Isn't that crazy? Like,
Wow.
if this kid ever becomes an archaeologist, that's already one hell of a resume right there.
That's really impressive. And it shows that he has the skills if he wants to be an archaeologist.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Yeah, like, Tyler, what do you think?
I'm just thinking of Remember when December 21st, 2012 just came and went?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. That's what
All
I'm
right,
thinking
nice.
Because you brought up the 2012. Well, like, yeah. Is that just how he got interested in the Mayan
Yeah,
civilization?
that's what inspired me. That's what got him interested.
Okay.
So like,
going back to when we had our conversation on this previously, when you told me about when you were just first telling me about the articles that you found. So like, to explain a bit more, like, he was just looking at star charts and looking at the maps of where Mayan ruins had been found, and noticed that they were like lining up with the stars and constellations. That's what he noticed.
Yeah. So I was gonna go in more detail after, after your opinion, or not opinion, after I asked you. But yeah. So like,
You mean after my fact?
after your fact. But yeah, so
I only spit facts here.
Yes. So after he was inspired by Mayan cities after the 2012 Mayan calendar and world apocalypse scares, he entered a science competition where he brought up his idea that, the Mayan cities might actually be toe-to-toe with constellations. And so he analyzed 22 Mayan star maps from the Madrid Codex, which, if you don't know, is like some old Mayan texts that have like star maps, and they have them up in a museum, and they actually look really sick. But like, he has studied 22 Mayan star maps from, and I think all included the Madrid Codex. And just to go into more detail, the Madrid Codex is one of the 3 surviving pre-Columbian Maya books dating to the post-classic period of Mesoamerican chronology. And he studied these, where he put out his theory that these cities do line up with constellations. And during this competition, he was provided from other people hosting this competition RadarSat-2 satellite imagery, which is like a Canadian satellite that takes like super geospatial, super detailed level geospec imagery. And using all these, he put 2 to 2 together. And lo and behold, he found an extra city, because he's noticed one of the constellations had an extra star that was not lined up with the city. So what do? He went to Google Maps. He used his RadarSat imagery, and before we know it, he has discovered the 4th largest Mayan ruin to date. Is that pretty sick?
Impressive.
That is pretty impressive. Wow. So like, how far is this ruin from like the nearest civilized area?
I have no idea.
Is it really out there? Like, far, like, how did they? I'm just wondering how they missed it. If it's the 4th largest Mayan ruin, is it like a whole Mayan city, or is it like a temple, or what?
Yeah, it's a whole
I'm
city.
not too familiar.
It's the 4th largest Mayan ruin. Mayan city.
God, wow.
Yeah.
How wide is like?
Oh, I guess I could pull up the specs. But like, here, where am I?
Get us some stats, because I really want to hear. I want to get a feel for how big this thing is.
Yeah, it seemed pretty big. Like,
if we get like was it hidden by the trees or something?
Can we get like an overlay of like it on top of New York, just to get like a size comparison of it to Manhattan?
Oh, so here are the. Oh, that'd be really cool. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah,
let me use the article
of like when they put Star Destroyers over Manhattan to show like.
Of course, he brought Star Wars into this.
Hey man, like that's the first thing I could think of is size comparisons with Manhattan. Yeah.
All right, here's an image. Yeah, look at that.
Actually, I'm gonna look that up.
So Mayan, it looks a little hidden.
Mayan ruin compared with Manhattan.
Well, you gotta make sure you get the right Mayan ruin. I sent you guys the article that I used as reference.
Any Mayan ruins threw over Manhattan. Bro, 15 years old and he looks 12. Congrats.
Are you making fun of him?
I'm not making fun of him. He's a baby.
It's funny because the article mentions the teenager had a close relationship with the Canadian Space Agency, the CSA, and I was gonna make a conspiracy theory off this, but then it went more into detail, and it's like, oh, just through a science competition.
yeah, he's associated with them. Yeah, no, this kid's going places.
Yeah, like what the heck?
Congrats.
So yeah, guys, feel free to look at that article. But yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why it shows a square man-made structure in the Yucatan Peninsula jungle. So it was hidden by the jungle, but using the satellite imagery, he was able to find it. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what
The constellation maps and the imagery.
Yo, that square image. Speaking of square images, in natural appearing places, by the way, to give you a nice segue into the next into another story, unless it's
no, that's the last one. We still have one to cover before that.
Damn it!
You know what? That was such a good segue. We'll do a different order.
Yes.
Are you guys ready for this?
Speaking of square, things, because that is a very square shape in a very natural looking setting.
Yes. Now we will cover NASA's Operation IceBridge. So before I actually talk about that, what does that name entail? What do you guys think that operation's about? Operation IceBridge. Like, any first thoughts?
I mean, I think what Josh said about the what do you say?
Just making a bridge.
The Jotunheim or something.
Yeah, going to the realm of the ice giants in Jotunheim from Norse
Yeah.
mythology.
They're building the what's the thing called? The ice.
The Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah, isn't that an ice bridge or something? The frost something. The Bifrost.
Bifrost, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course,
It's
kind
a
of related to a
rainbow
game.
Well, it said the word frost, so it's the Bifrost now.
Yeah,
That's my
so
input.
the story goes, monolithic slab of ice, perfectly cut, 90-degree angles, and this thing's huge, is floating off the Larsen Sea ice shelf. And that's like in between Brazil, at least out of what I saw, it's like in between like South America and Antarctica. And it's just this giant rectangular iceberg. It looks like somebody cut it or somebody placed it there. So apparently it's called a tabular iceberg, and apparently they're actually naturally forming. The naturally occurring icebergs are very geometric and can look like rectangles, just as this one. And oh my god, this thing looks like a perfect rectangle.
We need pictures now. Stat.
Oh yeah, I'll
send
post
us,
them in chat in a
link.
second. But like, yeah, like the theory, it's a broken off piece of the Larsen Sea ice shelf. It's a tabular iceberg, which was formed by a break off of ice shelves. Yeah, so apparently like tabular icebergs are formed by break-offs from ice shelves, and that's exactly what happened with the Larsen Sea ice shelf. It's just a big rectangle that happened to just chunk off it.
Neat.
Yeah, it's a giant floating rectangle. And NASA's Operation IceBridge, it's just apparently NASA's been studying the calving process, which creates ice shelves, which contributes to rising sea levels, and they're studying this phenomena. So yeah, it's actually not as crazy as it sounds, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Apparently the calving process is a process of breaking off giant chunks of ice, break off ice shelves, which I've already mentioned like 3 times. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Just a giant rectangle.
Fast? Is it happening? Is this phenomena happening more now that because of climate change?
So I don't know if
What
it's happening
planet is
more,
this?
but apparently it's contributing to rising sea levels, and with melting ice caps, that honestly could be happening faster. I can't confirm that,
Probably.
but like I
Where is
wouldn't be
this?
surprised if that's part of it.
Yeah.
And here, let me send
Where
you
is
the let me send you the article that I have.
Where is this?
And
Yeah, it's by the
Antarctica or
Larsen
the
Sea
Arctic?
ice shelf at Antarctica. It's in between
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
It's on
and
Earth.
Yeah, it's on Earth.
Oh, I thought it was on a different planet.
I said it's in between South America and Antarctica.
Yo, they found ice blocks on Europa.
I didn't hear that part. Yeah, I was like, oh.
Oh, so that's
Doesn't
the
look that perfect.
no. So that's an older picture. But wait until you see the when they first found it. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Look at that. Look at that picture.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, that looks like it was placed there.
Oh shit.
Yeah, look at the second article I provided has one of the very first pictures that NASA took, and look that thing looks placed as heck. Look at that, 90-degree angles. Like, somebody did something there.
Well, it says right here that that nature can produce perfect angles.
Yeah, that's what I said.
man.
Tabular icebergs. That's what I was talking about. But like that looks perfectly cut. Does that look like a chunk of random ice that fell off an ice shelf?
Like calcite. Like here's an image of a.
Also pyrite too.
Yeah, pyrite. Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you
These are
listening to
some
the
cool
podcast,
pictures.
it's literally just a big snowy ice rectangle. I know, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm probably providing a picture somewhere, but like,
Yeah.
look at that thing. That's it. That's the whole story. Giant
That's
ice
amazing.
rectangle.
Yeah, cool. Ice block.
Giant ice block.
That's the god. That's God's ice tray. He he reaches in and plops them up when he needs some ice cubes in his water. Perfect cubes.
God's ice cube.
Yeah. And now because of global warming, the ice maker's on the fritz, and it's just breaking constantly.
Oh, so you're saying this is part of a religious theory that we're straying further from God because of climate change?
Honestly, I'm willing to go there. We are. If one does believe in a higher power, and they believe that this is this beautiful creation, I think we are ruining it. And you know what? These giant ice cubes should be a great reminder of the beauty of planet Earth and why we should preserve it.
Yeah,
look at these perfect angles.
yeah. Maybe Mother
Only
Nature was
the
trying to make
forces of
something.
nature.
Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe Mother Nature is trying to make something so spectacular that she's trying to remind us that
It's
these
so
icebergs
supernatural
are
that
worth
it is
saving.
that it can only be natural.
I
Oh,
mean, it makes
Lord.
sense.
Something
It
of
looks
this
like
beauty.
it's surrounded by what's called pack ice, which is a type of sea ice that gets really close together. So it looks like it's an iceberg that got surrounded by a bunch of this other loose, kind of jumbled up sea ice
Mhm.
around it. That probably fell off an ice shelf. Then I would imagine from erosion from the waves and the wind, it kind of smoothed it out like that. It must have already been in a similar shape, but then slowly wore it down.
No, see, that's why in the first picture.
I think it explains the process here, though, how it happens somewhere, right? Does it explain?
Well,
it?
I already explained
I
it.
don't see it specifically.
Wait,
Are you
was I
saying-
that? Did I explain it that badly? Oh my god! So like,
Well,
they
I don't know
theorized
if you
this is a
explained how
tabular.
the ice itself is created.
Well, I
Yeah.
explained how the rectangle was created.
Yeah, well, like how the ice is formed in that shape. I meant like how the shape is.
Yeah, that's what I
how the
talked
ice is
about.
created. I know how ice is created.
That's what I talked about.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
well, okay,
then
so
I
I'll do it
must
again. This was probably confusing. Okay, so they
Yeah, no, say it
theorize it's a tabular iceberg, which is a naturally forming iceberg, which is just a bunch of ice and snow that breaks off ice shelves. So the theory is that's just a big chunk that broke off the Larsen C ice shelf.
Oh, so it just broke off in that shape.
Yep,
Like it just.
it's called the calving process, which is the process
what
of
I'm
giant
saying-
chunks that break off
Yeah.
ice shelves.
So like what you were
In
saying,
addition
Josh,
to that, though,
is
is
that
that
it was
probably
that
broke off
Yeah.
and then got further kind of smoothed around by
Yeah.
erosion and wind. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then
Like, I
so
totally
like
get
like
calving.
it broke off, but also pieces broke off of it. Are the 2 points we're hearing.
And probably just ended it smoothing. Right.
No, see,
So
if you
look,
guys
here's another
see-
picture.
if you guys see the pictures, the first one, it looks perfectly cut. But the second picture, which was taken later, that probably, the weather probably got to it then. But I think the Brazilian government put that giant iceberg out in the middle of nowhere, and there's a secret submarine base that's actually floating underneath. And now they want it to look naturally forming so nobody's suspecting a thing.
Well, so I just attached 2 pictures in the Discord with other tabular icebergs that fell off a main ice shelf, and they already look pretty rectangular, like the other one.
Yeah, I guess it's
So
rectangular,
I would
yeah.
assume it just got worn down, kind of smoothed, and the edges were tightened, and then got surrounded by this pack ice, and that kind of made this like weird rectangle surrounded by all this weird jumbled ice that doesn't look like a rectangle.
Yeah, see, that's why from the 2 articles I provided, the second image, yeah, it looks more rounded, looks more natural, but that first image, come on, literally 90-degree angles. Look at that. It's pointy. It's literally pointy. That, there's a secret submarine base or something underneath. It's probably aliens. Who knows?
It says it is unusual to find an iceberg with all four corners so close to 90 degrees. It isn't quite
Yes.
90 degrees.
Yes.
It's close to
Yes.
it.
Well, 91 degrees, close enough.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, if you guys can see the images, we're probably just babbling on now. But yeah,
If
sweet.
it was made by Brazil, they would have made it perfect.
You're right. All right, so we have one story left.
What is the
Oh, unless Tyler, what?
Where does the IceBridge name come from?
What?
I said something about NASA's IceBridge.
Oh, Operation IceBridge?
Yeah, where's the bridge part come from?
Oh, the article I read didn't mention any inspirations for the name. But I don't know, maybe it looks like a big bridge.
I'm seeing like the Twitter post of the picture saying that it was recently calved.
Yeah, the calving process.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Tyler,
Like IceBridge.
If you
I'm
scroll up, it says the flyover aerial survey was part of NASA's Operation IceBridge, an ongoing assessment into the changes of Antarctica's ice shelves.
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe IceBridge
Yeah, the rising
is just
sea
kind
levels.
of like NASA's bridge to the other shelves, that's going from one shelf to another, kind of making like a flight bridge, checking them out.
I got what you mean.
Oh, wait, no, honestly, you know what? You know how as the snow melts away, the connection between Alaska and Russia just gets closer? You know how they call that a bridge?
You mean it's the opposite?
What do you mean?
The land bridge is going away.
Right.
No,
So,
I thought
the opposite.
the land bridge was
when the
appearing.
ice was there.
No, there's
so when the ice
here, let me look at this.
When the ice was there, it created a land bridge. When the ice melted, it raised sea levels, so that connection split.
I gotta do this real quick. All right, let's check this out.
Like, there used to be land connecting Japan to the rest of Asia. Now there isn't. Or...
All right, so the Bering Land Bridge National... what? All right, well, that's a different topic. All right, well,
So,
not that one. I'm talking about the true bridge.
oh my god.
The people that connect us all.
So that bridge was there because the icebergs, or the ice
No,
age
it's about the
put a lot
people
of
that
water
connect
in these
us.
Giant ice sheets.
We create the bridge. What are you talking about?
When the Earth started warming again, that ice melted.
Yeah, when the
and
world formed,
oceans
more
started
people
to rise.
appeared, and our hearts grew stronger.
Okay.
All right, you ready for the next topic? You ready for the next topic?
Oh my god.
All right, our final topic. You guys ready for this? Probably one of my. It's actually probably my favorite topic for today.
Woo! Aren't you glad we saved this one for last?
A little bit. You ready for this? Researchers.
Oh boy, give it to us.
Oh my lord! Researchers make live Xenobots, next generation of living robots. And no, I know a lot of articles talked about AI, machine learning making living robots, but this is a little different. These robots are actually alive. So according to Tufts Now, which is Tufts University's paper, a group of biologists and computer scientists from Tufts University and the University of Vermont made tiny self-healing machines from frog cells named Xenobots. So they had the first Xenobots to come out. They were pretty weak. They could do some things. They could move around a little bit. They could actually consume some items in their surroundings. It was pretty insane, but there wasn't much to them. But the news came out when Xenobot V2.0, the second version of Xenobots, are actually out. The research has actually gone further, and now these little frog cell mushes of muscle got upgraded. They now have some sort of memory. They have more muscle control, and they are just now more overall capable of all the things they could have done before, like movement, healing. They're just better, and it's kind of crazy. They can heal themselves when damaged, and allegedly, if researchers gave them small cuts and bruises, they would heal themselves in little as 5 minutes. And I know they're tiny robots, but they gave them tiny cuts and they healed themselves as fast as 5 minutes. They were grown from frog muscles and they were grown like into spheres. They're like little blobby muscular spheres from frogs.
Yo.
And the crazy thing was that they were given legs. I'm pretty sure the muscle
Legs?
Yeah, they took the frog muscles from frog legs and grew these little robots, and they're like, you know what legs need? More legs. And so they put tiny robotic legs on these bio frog legs. And I mean, they're quote unquote legs. They're more just little, like, I believe they compared them to cilia in the human body, or flagella, like bacteria, which our resident bio expert here could probably talk about that more. But they compared it to cilia in the human body and like flagella and I believe bacteria. But they gave them metal cilia, actual robotic legs, or movement apparatuses.
Prosthetics.
Exactly, they gave them actual prosthetics. And oh lord, isn't that insane? I have more info, but what do you guys think about that so far?
Okay, so right away, I can already like see a great application of this.
Oh yeah? What do you think? What do you think?
Well, like, because you were saying that, so these things have memory, like cell memory, like they can transmit DNA and retain that.
Well, no, they actually have memory. They can memorize a little bit. They memorize
like
past actions.
Memory.
Oh yeah, I think they pronounce it as muscle memory. Actually, I think it's a little different, but yeah.
So yeah, or when you were saying like they were able to heal themselves fast, like that fast, I'm thinking like, imagine we are able to modify the cells of people so that they'll be able to recover from injuries better.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up later at the end, but yeah, that's actually one of the applications they're looking into. They're going to study these.
Or if somebody like breaks a bone, you could just hold that in place, inject some cells in, and it'll just fix it up or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be oversimplifying it.
No, but yeah, they plan on doing future research. Yeah. They plan on studying these Xenobots on how cells actually interact with each other. And so they actually plan, one of the potential future applications was actually human regeneration. But like
just regenerating lost body parts.
Yeah, like one of the researchers, Michael Levin, actually had a TED talk where he talked about these little bots and their future possible applications where he talked about this. So there actually is a TED talk from Michael Levin. Levin, Levin. If you just look up Michael Levin, you'll probably find it. I don't know. I think he only gave one TED talk. Isn't that crazy? Resident bio expert, what do you think?
It's really interesting. I was reading about what they did with the cilia. So it turns out that it doesn't look like they injected any metal into them. They were able to grow cilia on their own from genetically encoded hardware that had already been present, meaning their DNA code. So instead of these cells, which are obviously frog cells, creating a tadpole, they adapted to moving around using cilia, which is unbelievably impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can see them zooming around. If you watch a little video, it's like a bunch of meatballs just zooming around.
Me too.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's like do you have more to say, or?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so it doesn't look like any metal. It looks like everything that they've grown, including the cilia, was from its own cells. This is just a really interesting application. And by robotic, it seems like an AI created and a computer code created the idea of which cells to use, and then the cells themselves are their own. They're just biological cells. That's, I think, from what I'm understanding, that's why they're called Xenobots. Because the same team has now created life forms that self-assemble a body from single cells, do not require muscles to move, and even demonstrate the capacity for recordable memory. So it was a computer program that designed these cells, and then the cells they grew, these are cells moving around. I mean, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so I was gonna mention this afterwards, but the Tufts University scientists made the physical organisms. They handle more of the bio aspects, but the University of Vermont made the computer simulations that modeled the Xenobot shapes that were most optimized for swarms. So they you probably read a little bit about that too. in there, but like, yeah, these guys could actually swarm. They could get together and they're trying to make them do like actual. Yeah, they're trying to get all these little bots to get together, or I guess little bio balls, and like they're trying to get them to actually do things. It's pretty insane. They could actually make it through like certain areas. I think they didn't put them in a maze, but they put them in little like environments to make them move through, and they could like get out of certain areas and stuff. And they could do garbage collection. They could quote unquote eat or gather items in an environment. And I saw a video. Oh, wait, sorry, what?
We are playing God at this point. Yep. Like it is straight up just. You think when you say swarm, you think that maybe they could have all these unicellular organisms that could like coalesce together and become like a colony and end up just behaving like a multicellular organism?
Well, we have that actually in nature. Yeah. We have a lot of unicellular eukaryotes. Protists are a famous example of that. We have a lot of slime modes that grow in the Northeast where most of the podcasters are from. And these slime modes are individual cells that band together and form communities. And slime modes as well also have memory, also have reflexes, know where food is. They work together as unicellular separate organisms and combine together.
So, they're like a multi-celled organism.
So the thing that's special about this paper, though. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, I just want to quickly butt in because it goes exactly by what you're saying. So also in the TED Talk, this was also mentioned. But yeah, one of the biggest reasons why they funded this research and what they plan on doing with it is so they get all these like all these little unicellular all these little bots, and they want to get them together and actually make bigger items. They want to actually make multicellular bodies using this tech. So they plan on doing this. They actually plan on doing this in the future.
Dude, this is really this is blowing my mind right now because this was essentially I don't want to say a main plot, but it was like a subplot of a science fiction story that I was writing back in high school. Or basically,
you wrote a Xenobot fanfic before you knew
it. Basically, it was basically like this bioengineer who had it started off he just made cyborgs, and then I eventually went as far as like, you know what, no, he grew he artificially made like two human beings and just grew them like from cells, so he's like able to program their DNA basically, and that was more or less it. But they were made of organic stuff, and it's like this is blowing my mind because this is like I'm immediately thinking, could we do this? Like, could we just make people? Like, not just like now. What we have now is we have rudimentary cloning where we can take two cells and then like put them together and grow an animal from them. It just to varying degrees of success, but like, are we able to just make? Is there a future where we could just make people from scratch?
You actually bring up a good point because I actually have a theory about this. Because I don't know how familiar you guys are with this, but China actually got in trouble on making special custom babies for I think we talked about this like obviously off podcast, but they were making specialized humans that were more athletic and specialized for like physical tests so they could win the Olympics in the future.
See, that
sounds like a conspiracy theory.
The interesting thing about that is they did artificial selection in terms of choosing parents. They didn't go in and genetically hardwire the code.
No, so that's what. Oh wait, yeah.
To Tyler's point, they could. Yeah, and they very easily would.
Yeah, that's my theory. They're gonna capture these scientists and take the tech and do this and actually make it worse. They're gonna do something else.
Let them develop it, and then they have to get their hands on the research. That's all they gotta do.
These researchers are gonna be captured by somebody, and this tech is gonna go somewhere I don't want to know.
We gotta back up a little bit as well. I mean, these Xenobots, they are single cellular organisms that are working together.
Yeah.
But if you could choose between that and just cloning a piece of stem cell, which you can get from anybody, in this case, if we're using the example of China or another country, you can take stem cells from a famous athlete, grow those stem cells into a human, which we can do already, and using environmental factors as well as brainwashing, you convince them to support you.
So are we going to make an army of LeBron James?
We're gonna make an army of LeBron James super soldiers.
Yes.
In terms of the Xenobots, the reason why, in terms of creating people, it's not really creating people. we would do that through stem cells. To Tyler's point, doing from scratch, all we need is a single stem cell, and you could theoretically grow a human. Obviously, it would take a lot of willpower. We have the research, but it would cost an astronomical, cost a lot of money. With the xenobots, however, if they are these unicellular organisms, and if they can listen to simple commands, what you can do, and theoretically, you can make it into a biological weapon where it acts as a bacteria, it acts as a virus, but as a unicellular eukaryote organism, and you can encode it or put in its DNA that it thrives on protein. Well, I mean, if you release this airborne and these, I guess you could quote it as spores, spread to humans, well, humans are made out of protein, and it'll start eating the flesh of humans. It'll start eating the flesh
Yo.
of every
Yo, it
organism.
actually, I don't know if you guys
Yo,
watch
this is the
JoJo, but like, there's actually a stand that's like a pile of flesh that hunts people. So we're actually we maybe one day, one day we'll see a packs of flesh that are hunting people down. Possibly.
It's the Xenobots run.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the apocalypse that kicks off the our story, where you have to start growing steaks from yourself.
Oh my god, we're not gonna be eating human steaks.
That's
we're gonna
it.
be eating Xenobot steaks.
No, Xenobot. It's a Xenobot zombie apocalypse. Zombies, but spelled with an X, if you will. I realized that after the fact that, oh wait, it'd just be pronounced the same.
Oh, so just one more thing to mention. Xenobots have a 10-day lifespan off their own embryonic energy stores. I don't even know what that is. But Xenobots can live many months if kept in a soup of nutrients. Isn't that whack?
I think the
Lord.
limited lifespan, if not just surrounded by nutrients, may be the only thing currently preventing us from total annihilation.
I think there's two things to look at with the Xenobots. I think in terms of creating humans, that's more stem cells. But with the Xenobots, there are two implications that are really important. One is healing and regeneration. You can have these Xenobots replicate as cells, as human liver cells, as human heart cells. As long as they're in this soup, you can then theoretically implant these cells into a human. And because they're your own cells, you're obviously not going to have the risk of organ rejection, which is really dangerous in terms of organ donors. The other dangerous implication is this theoretical biological weapon idea, where you can encode them to have a simple command or encode them in their DNA that to feed, they must rely on living tissue, or they must rely on nutrients only found in certain places.
That is
And
horrifying.
just like slime modes, they can detect said places. And if they're spread airborne, or if they have mobility, you can spread them in water supply. And if someone drinks them, they will start eating a person from the inside. They will start eating organisms from the inside.
That actually reminds me, I like conspiracy theories a lot. I don't mention them that much, but I like them a lot. I don't know why. And actually, there's some really whack conspiracy with what people have done with like weaponizing algae or weaponizing clouds to poison pigs. And it's like, that's going to be a conspiracy one day that'll turn true, using Xenobots to harm others. And you forgot the final application. Xenobot girlfriends.
Oh my god.
No man will ever be single after this. Just watch. Give it 10 years. Just give it 10 years. Tyler, your Xenobot girlfriend's coming your way.
Oh god.
But yeah, any final thoughts? I think this will be like the end of the podcast episode. This is our final topic. Any final thoughts, guys? How scary this could be?
I think you could look at it as scary, but I think it's also fascinating that we've been able to get to this point. And I think that with regulation, we can make it a force for good.
Regulation's a key word there. We got to make sure that this is only used for the right applications. And I think like regenerative properties of these Xenobots, I think that's very promising. I definitely want to see like especially for say like veterans who are who have suffered like irreparable damage to their, obviously, to their psyche is one thing, but like to their bodies, being able to fix that can go a long way to help them.
Also, Tyler, what are you doing? Your mic is so confuffled.
It's so I'm not doing anything right now.
It sounds like you're like crumpling paper. Oh, like Josh, you getting that too?
I stopped crumpling paper.
Sorry to cut you off. It's just it was getting louder. So sorry to cut you off.
I think I was putting something away, and it might have given off like a sound that might have sounded like that.
I was sweet. So like, all 6 of our topics there. So yeah, what? Any final thoughts on any of the topics? We got a hose never cold research, crypto hamster death, Mr.Goxx, my man. Well, no, I guess he's dead now, but human stakes,
my
art
hamster,
projects.
not a man.
Yeah, the 50-year-old archaeologist, soon to be president. Xenobot takeovers, weapons and fun, and NASA's Operation IceBridge, which is just them studying climate change. Any final regards? Any final remarks?
Good shit, man.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Good stuff. It's pretty whack.
Society is progressing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we're not sure what
technology.
direction, but they are progressing in a direction.
And if you guys follow the Patreon now, you'll get Australian man pirated NFTs and Ethereum Solana, and you'll get the Uncanny Valley. No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't have a Patreon covered. One day I will, but we'll see.
But those will be the benefits. That part you're not kidding about.
Yeah, actually, you know what? For
And
Patreon,
you get one free Xenobot.
We made a special deal with the researchers, which they don't know yet, but we'll give you a Xenobot pet.
Disclaimer: it is only a toy. It is not a real Xenobot.
Disclaimer: not girlfriend.
Do not feed after midnight.
Oh no!
Don't feed after midnight. It is not your girlfriend. Relax.
Yet.
But yeah,
Relax.
Relax. But yeah, so this was episode 1 of the Spiel Meal. Remember, I'm here with resident Birdman and bio expert Josh D and computer scientist extraordinaire, Left 4 Dead 2 speedrunner Tyler J. And soon to be actually
those are not self-given titles.
Yeah, Tyler J. actually aspiring writer. Once he actually posts something on the internet, I'll probably recommend it. But yeah. So look at that, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, Spiel Meal, we're going to be covering just wacky stories I find interesting. I'm your host, Mr. P, Patrick. And we're going to have random co-hosts every week. For today, we have these 2 lovely gentlemen, but we'll see. Maybe they'll be back next week. Maybe we'll have a woman. We'll see.
Yo, he's going to bring out his Xenobot girlfriend.
Yeah, where's Mr. P going to find someone like that?
I'm going to bring my Xenobot girlfriend, Ashley.
Zashly.
Oh Lord. All right, so yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Very first episode. I'm not expecting anybody to listen to this, but just in case, I plan on having some good stuff set up for the future. But for now, I won't talk about any of it because, like, oh Lord, first episode. Don't want to get ahead of myself. Until then, spicy boys and girls.
Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe out there.
Good night. Happy holidays.
Yeah, stay away from those bots.